Afternoon. Yes, certainly, Naptosa recognizes that 2021 was more difficult. This is the first cohort of learners that had to do a rotational learning when they were in grade 11, and obviously left them with some gaps. And these building blocks had to be filled in grade 12, which made grade 12 an extremely pressurized year. And most of our teachers did a lot to try and cover that up. But one can never claim that everybody managed to cover up everything. In addition, Eskom then punished everybody, and we saw that there were times when learning time was disrupted. Not the writing time, the learning time at night when there were no lights. So we believe that it's been a difficult time, and we want to temper expectations to say, don't be surprised if there's a slight difference, but certainly don't expect there to be a major improvement in results. It's just unrealistic to expect that.
When we manage expectations, we're also quite aware that this was the largest cohort that we have seen. Let's speak to learners who are no doubt anxious as the time draws closer for the announcement of results. Basil, it's Dudu. Are you still there in terms of managing expectations? Just speak
yes.
to learners who are feeling anxious at this time, no doubt.
Absolutely, Dudu. And it's a great pity that there are people out there who want to scare our learners. You know, there was this fake news that was flying around as well. And I don't want to give it any credence by repeating it. But that simply just gets everybody wound up. And our matriculants don't need that now. The results are coming out later than normal, only on the 20th. And of course that applies more pressure because everybody wants to get on with their lives. Those that are going to go on to tertiary education certainly want to see the outcomes. But what we need to say to them is that it doesn't matter now. What you've done, you've done. The results will be there. You can't alter them now. But whatever you do, remember that tomorrow is another day. The sun still shines. So if there are certain levels of disappointment, you have another opportunity. But those that have done well, we are saying, also think very carefully about what you want to do and where you want to go. And if you haven't applied up by now, it's a difficult time. But it is not the end of a period. It is the beginning of another period. So I know that we have a lot of anxious learners and parents, by the way, and teachers too, because tragically schools are judged by the performance of the learners. And some schools are going to be condemned for certain things that may even have been beyond their control.
There are a number of lessons learned. What would some of those be for you, and what should be done with this academic year for the 2022 class?
I think that one of the things that we need to do much, much more in is take a closer look at how we manage learners during a crisis. I think we've done well, but I think there are lessons to be learned. COVID has taught us things, and what COVID has also done is shown us that sometimes we do overreact to situations, and we are much calmer now, so I think we are handling things better. But another important lesson is to get the year started, and every matric teacher knows this, and every matriculant and parent whose child is in matric has to get the year started. Don't waste the time. Start now, because anything can happen in the months ahead. And that being the most important takeaway for me is that nobody must sit around waiting, thinking that you have enough time. You never do.
You never do. I'd like to get your thought on a common theme, but very different in terms of the levels, right? So for parents who have grade 1 and grade 8 pupils, what we're reporting at this hour at least is that there are endless queues outside of the Department of Education in Gauteng, in Florida to be specific, frustrated with the online system. The Department of Education saying that it works just fine, there's nothing wrong with the system. What have you made of these developments, especially given that we are going into the 6th year of this online system?
I think that we don't always learn the important lessons from some of the hiccups we have. But I want to agree. The system is not bad. You cannot throw it out. because it has glitches. You must improve on the glitches. You cannot go back to the day of the ox wagon simply because your car breaks down. So now let's try and improve it. However, I must lament about the fact that we are still sitting with queues of people. I must lament about the fact that there are still learners that are unplaced, and that we are talking about today people still not having brought all the documentation when we've had so much time. So there are things that can be improved. But I don't think simply saying the system isn't working because we have a hiccup is a solution to the problem.